Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Matt Peace. I am the account director here at Enhance, and I'm delighted to welcome everybody to this session, which is going to be primarily hosted by Jet Global, part of Insight Software. I'm pleased to welcome Rob Jackson, who's technical account manager at Jet Global, and Rob's going to be taking us through the presentation this afternoon. Just from an Enhance point of view, Jet are a very long-standing partner of ours. We've used them for more years than I can remember in terms of reporting solutions. So very established partner of Enhance. They've got some really fantastic solutions that Rob's obviously going to be showcasing today, but also very much connected with the sort of Microsoft ecosystem and Microsoft integration. So it kind of plays really well with Enhance and our strategy. Just in terms of housekeeping, due to sort of some time pressures today, if you've got any questions, if you want to drop them through on the chat panel on the GoToMeeting software, we'll pick them up afterwards and we'll make sure we come back to you. And failing that, if you want to arrange a more detailed discussion, please feel free to reach out to your Enhance account manager and we'll be too pleased to pick that up separately. So without further delay, I will now hand over to Rob to take us through the presentation. So over to you, Rob.
Thank you very much, Matt, and welcome to all of the Enhance customers that have joined. We've got their twilight shift today, I think, but hopefully saving the best till last. So as a quick introduction, Jet Global's products are now part of Insight Software as an organization for about the last 18 months. I'm sure a lot of customers would have heard of the Jet solutions, but they will remain very much focused towards the Microsoft Dynamics ERP solution, so including GP, NAV, and Business Central. So today we're going to be focusing on Jet Reports, which is our core product for financial and operational reporting, which is built straight into Microsoft Excel. But you can see on the bottom right-hand corner there, we've got other solutions around business intelligence, which is Jet Analytics. We have a budget solution and also the Jet Hub, which is a web-based interface for people to share and collaborate the content. Globally, Insight Software has a number of different solutions for different ERPs, but just to give you some reassurance, about 15,000 of the 25,000 customers of Insight Software's products are Jet customers, and Jet is pretty much established as one of the largest ISV vertical solution for Microsoft Dynamics. So just as a quick summary, what is Jet Reports? So it's a report solution built straight into Microsoft Excel. It allows you to author reports by using, business or business users can basically do that with formulas, with copy and with drag and drop functions, but not requiring any hard coding and technical programming skills. The reports as designed allow you to move from one version of Dynamics to the next. So if you're upgrading in the future, you don't have to refactor all of the reports again as part of that upgrade process. And it's got some uniqueness about it because you can run, for example, a single report inside Jet and pull information from multiple companies, which is something that you can't actually do from the standard ERP systems, particularly with NAV and Business Central. So today what I'm going to do is run through 5 key topics which are along the lines of how we get started with Jet Reports. We'll look at the product and get connected to a data source. We'll use one of the wizards which puts together a financial report, so it shows our actuals versus our budget. I'll dig into a little bit about how a Jet function works and how we've extended the functionality of Microsoft Excel. And I'll show you the browser, which is a drag and drop tool which we use to put together a report. So I'll show you the beginnings of designing a report, and then we'll take a look at the standard reports that we ship and make available as part of the product. So that's quite a lot to fit in. So I'm going to just jump straight into Microsoft Excel. So what I've got open here is a blank workbook. Jet belongs on its own tab inside the ribbon. Everything that you see here is a set of both design tools, but also functions that allow me to run and refresh reports. So the first thing that I said I would do is to set up a connection to a data source. So in the example that I'm going to show you, is going to be against a, and I'll just call this AA Enhance, just such that it appears at the top of my list. So in the database type, we just pick the type of database that we are connecting to. I happen to be running a NAV 2017 database locally on my machine, but there are different connection scenarios, for GP, for NAV, for Business Central, whether that's public cloud. There are a number of different connection scenarios. So there's a couple of details that we fill in. We just have to specify the server and also the database that we are connecting to, and we just pick a default company from our database. And in order for the drill down functionality to work, we have to fill in just a server name for where the nav client is running, and the name of our instance as well. But pretty much, I mean, some connection scenarios are more complex than others, but that now gives me a connection to my data source, so I can select AA Enhance, and inside here you'll see that I've got 3 companies inside the database that we've connected to locally. All of the permissions from a user perspective are exactly the same as they are in the ERP. So I don't have to set up a separate security model here. I simply have to make a connection to the database, and if users don't have access to read from a specific table, they won't be able to execute a report that's based on that. But by making that connection, I've got the ability to see all of the tables, all of the fields in the entire database, and that includes any extended functionality, any custom tables or fields that have been added. When you look at our website, we've also got a page, oddly enough, which is called Getting Started with Jet Reports as well, and this shows all of the configuration options. So whether you're connecting to Dynamics Nav or a GP database, for example, or Business Central, there's separate guides here that walk you through the process, and depending on what the connectivity method is. In particular for GP, because I know that Enhance have got some GP customers, there is an update utility with connections to GP. The tables aren't named in a very friendly way. So if I just jump into a GP database, this is how the tables are named in GP, which isn't very helpful. So what we have is actually a set of views that have got more friendly names that allow you to put reports together quite quickly, but the basis of how we build reports is pretty much exactly the same. So I'll go back to the Enhance connection here that we started with. So let's start putting a report together. So we've got some tools and some wizards that get us up and running pretty quickly. This financials report shows the amount of my general ledger movements versus my budget. It will show me a variance and the variance percentage. So I've got all of those options ticked in this drop down menu. I can click this to include column headings when I build the report directly in Excel. And I'm just going to scroll down and pick the section of my chart of accounts, which is to do with the operating expenses. And just by using my shift button, I can select the entire range from the start of that section to the end of the section, and just click and drag that report content straight into Excel. And what Jet will do is build a report automatically for me. And we'll just take a quick look at that report just so you can see some of the basics of how a Jet report is put together. So first things first, along the top, we've got some keywords. This one here, fit, resizes the column after the data has been retrieved from the database, because we don't know the length of the content of the field until after the report is executed. So the fit keyword ensures that everything fits in the report nicely, and the presentation is laid out as best as possible. When the report is run, everything in row 1 and column A will be hidden out of the way. So this is reserved space for those keywords. In this cell here in G13, you'll see in the function or the formula bar, we've got this GL function. And the GL function is made up of a number of different parameters. So for example, the account number and the start and the end date, which we use when we run and execute the report. These functions work in exactly the same way as Excel, so I can press F2 on my keyboard and this will show me the dependencies inside Excel. So the idea of this formula is it's just showing me the general ledger balance of this account number between this start date and this end date. And if I look here in the drop-down menu, you'll see that Jet has introduced 4 new functions. They all have different features to them into Excel, but fundamentally they are working in a very similar way to an Excel function, and they can be used in conjunction with standard Excel formulas. So this variance column, for example, is just taking the amount minus the budget to show my variance, and a similar thing for the variance percentage. And building reports like this allows me to format anything in the way that I want inside the report, and I can lay out reports. I can include logos in my Excel document. And rather than exporting data from the ERP, I'm pulling data from the ERP with those functions. So when I run the report, the options tab contains information that allows a user to execute the report with some parameters that they specify themselves. So if I just include a start and an end date to include the whole of the months of 2019 and run the report. Of course, all my formatting stays there that I put, but the formulas here, go missing and they're replaced by a numerical value. This allows the report to be sent in Excel format to an external party, to a customer organization, like an accountant, an auditor, that type of thing, just somebody that may need to open up the report in Excel. So that will work just fine because these Jet specific functions have been now replaced. Now, something that's really key to our product is the ability to take a summarized value like this and to drill down into the ERP to see, well, actually, how is that number made up? And by clicking on the drill down function, you'll either be presented, in my case, with the Rolltailor client, but if you're using Business Central, you'll be presented with a very similar screen in the web interface. And what this has done is open the general ledger entries page with exactly the same posting date range and the same account number, such that all of these amounts here, these individual transactions, will add up to this sum in the report. So as a finance manager, if I wanted to run a report at the end of a month and I want to go and investigate any outliers or any funny numbers, it allows me to do that with tight integration to the ERP. And with refreshable reports, any adjustments that I make as a finance manager, any final journals that I run at the end of the month, I simply have to refresh the report, and this pulls data directly from the live ERP. So this is effectively as good as running from live data. When we come to building reports from scratch, we can use the browser, which I showed you quickly before, as a tool in order to do that. And I'm going to start with just building a very simple list based on the customer table, and I can very simply just drag and drop fields to the report area itself. So if I just choose, for example, a customer number, the name, the city, and for example what their sales were. So I'm to run out of space here, but that's fine. Okay, again, I can add any report formatting that I want, so I can just change the color and make it bold and larger. Any numerical values, of course, I can format in Excel, with a pound symbol. And what this report will do is create one row in the worksheet for every customer that's retrieved from the database. So if I just show you that working quickly, all of these rows here have been inserted as brand new rows in the worksheet. And Jet has got the ability to insert rows in this direction based on entries that it's getting back from the database, columns in this direction, but also worksheets across the bottom area of the worksheet. So it might be that you want to summarize some information by company or by salesperson, that type of thing. Okay, but hopefully that gives you a quick starting point. But what I'm going to do is just jump into a version of this report that I've done a couple of extra things to, and I've just added some other formatting. And this is a matrix report where we've got exactly the same content here, my customer name, city, sales, but in the other direction, I've included some columns based on a month worth of sales and then a comparison to the previous period. So these are calculated fields that will get hidden out of the way when the report is run. But this just goes to show you the power of Jet when we introduce, when we introduce some conditional formatting as well. These formulas in these 3 cells are going to be copied both down and across to complete a matrix view. So if I just go ahead and run this report, I can also, in this example, specify the number of customers that I would like to see. So I'll just specify the top 20 customers that have bought from me within the first 6 months of last year. And that's this report executes. The 20 limit that I put in restricted me to creating 20 rows in the worksheet, but working in the other direction is this set of 4 columns that has been replicated across. So I get a set of columns basically for every month, and then automatically what I'm doing is calculating the corresponding month 1 year before, and then again creating a variance as a standard Excel formula. And then I can add some conditional formatting to that. So it just is a nice and easy way for me to kind of pick out any outliers or that type of thing. So this type of reporting could be good to see where customer sales are increasing or decreasing and dropping off, that type of thing. So next I said I would look at the standard reports that we ship with the product. And actually, if I just come to my reports here, for example, so this is a download of all of the sample reports from our website. So back on that page, which is called Getting Started with Jet Reports, which is just nice and easy to Google, by the way. So if you Google Getting Started with Jet Reports, you'll come straight to this page. But there's a link here to all of our pre-built reports. And on this page, you've got the ability to download an entire zip file that, when unpacked, gives you a wide range of reports that work with the different versions of our software. So whether that's Jet Reports, Jet Analytics, there's a whole heap of content here for people to get started with. And any of these standard reports you can take copies of, and you can amend the layout of them and just customize them according to your own individual requirements. So if I just come back, what I'll do is just show you, I've just picked a couple of examples of these. I'll pick on this one to start with, which is some analysis of item sales by product group. And inside each of the standard reports, there'll be a README tab that it just explains to you about the report, what the report does, and anything you need to do to make the report work against your database. There shouldn't be anything required. Most reports just run outside of the box. This will be previewed with data from the system that it was run against in the US, where the report was designed. But if I just put in here my starting and ending dates, I'll include again the whole of last year. So we're running this against this default company that I'm connected to, and this report will execute, and then it will show me all of the sales by product group, summarized down into each individual section per product group. But it will show me what the quantity is I've sold this year, the amount, the gross sales, and the profit. And then to the right hand side, again, this is a automatically calculated date, which is 1 year prior, and it will just show me a comparison. And then again, we've got some analysis here just to compare one period with the next, and we can see, from a profitability point of view, which products are on the rise in terms of profitability. But these could be comparisons really against anything that you've got in the database. Next, I want to just show you again another sample report, which is a great example of how we can use Jet to report on multiple companies. So as mentioned before, when you run reports, when you're logged into the ERP and you're logged into a specific company, it is only possible to run reports on that particular company. This is a P&L consolidation by company that allows me to pull information. Now, when this report was designed and this is exactly the report as you download it, you can see that we've got these 2 companies. In my example, we've got 3 companies. So, and the idea of the content of this report is that there'll be 1 column created for every company that exists in my database, and 1 tab which gives me a more specific breakdown. So if I run this report, again, this is exactly as it comes out of the box. If I put my date filter in, this date filter is built in a slightly different way, so I have to put the entire range in 1 cell argument. And if I run this report, it will go off to the database, find that it's got 3 companies, and then it will automatically create for me a tab for the UK company, a tab for this company, and a tab for the USA company. On each individual company sheet, the details of the P&L, so the sales account and the cost of goods sold, etc., and the expenses are broken down by department. So this is one of the global dimensions, and whatever dimension tag you've associated with the entries, this will break it down, or if I don't have one, this is the values for blank. The sum total of all of these add up, to a consolidation as such for this company. And then on the P&L by company tab, you can see that this report is expanded by 1 more column because I've got an extra company here, and this consolidated figure is the sum total of all of these. So it's quite flexible in the sense that you've got control of how you want your reports to be presented. You can lay out the reports exactly as you require. The tool as well has got the ability to schedule and distribute reports. So you might want the same report to go out once a day, once a week, that type of thing. And it's possible to link Jet to a SMTP server such that reports can be distributed via email to an email distribution group. Anybody that receives the reports, if they're a Jet viewer, they can run and refresh the reports again with, of course, their own set of filters. And the scheduler allows reports to be output in a number of different formats. So whether that's as an Excel workbook exactly as we have here, or a PDF format, or an HTML format, those are all possible, as well as the ability to cycle reports. So it might be that you've got the same sales report that you want to cycle per salesperson, and then send each one out to a specific salesperson. So these are all use cases that we see our customers using our product. Okay, so hopefully that has been I've covered a lot in one session and thrown a lot of information at you, but hopefully that is a good insight, and you can take a look at our website. As Matt said at the beginning, if there are any questions, then please send those across to Enhance, and then we'll be more than happy to make sure that those get answered correctly. I think one last thing to add also, because I understand that Enhance have got quite a few customers that are running GP. If it is the case that you are running GP at the moment, but in the fullness of time you're thinking to migrate to Business Central, then you could start with Jet Reports, get familiar with how the reporting solution works, and then of course when you migrate ERPs, you're at least taking something consistent with you, because of course changing ERPs is a big cultural change to an organization. So this would allow you to take something familiar across with you. Okay, so with that, Matt, I'll pass that back to yourself.
Rob, thank you very much. I just wanted to say, obviously, thank you very much for the presentation. That was really useful. Really good point in terms of a bit of a theme with a lot of our presentations today. Even though companies are looking at options around ERP, at the end of the day, good reporting tools, good additional products, work with all different flavors of ERP. So that's definitely something to bear in mind. Thanks everybody for attending the session this afternoon, and I know a lot of you have attended a lot of the sessions today, so thank you very much for that. But I think that leaves me just to say once again, thanks to Rob and the guys at Jet for the presentation, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you.